Hey guys, and welcome back to my cooking channel, Katie Cooks Easy Recipes, and today I've got one of my favourite recipes to share with you. It's brand new to my website. It's my dump and go slow cooker creamy beef and mushroom pasta. It's probably one of my favourite recipes right now, so please don't forget to let me know what you think of it at the end of the video. Don't forget guys to like, share, comment and subscribe to my channel where you'll find all sorts of recipes, including these other delicious slow cooker pasta recipes, like this peri chicken one, that's delicious, or even this slow cooker chicken and mushroom, absolutely divine. But let's get back to today's recipe, and these are the ingredients we're going to need. So for 4 people you're going to need about 450 grams of slow cooked beef. Here I'm using shin, it's absolutely delicious. Around about 250 grams of lovely mushrooms. You're going to need 3 large tablespoons of creme fraiche, an onion which we're going to dice in a minute, some Dijon mustard, tomato puree, around a large tablespoon of each, some hot smoked paprika, again about a tablespoon, and then we're going to need a small bunch of parsley that we're going to roughly chop. We're going to need 1 tablespoon of garlic puree, and we're going to need some beef stock, which I'll show you the amount as we go along. I've completely forgot to add the pasta in, so you're going to need around about 230 grams of pasta. So we're going to get back to our prep, and as usual with slow cooker meals there tends to be very little prep. All we need to do for this particular recipe is just roughly dice an onion. It doesn't have to be perfect at all because it's gonna cook really slowly and just pretty much melt into the dish anyway, so you don't need to be too pretentious when you're dicing your onion. And then once you're done dicing your whole onion, just push it to one side of your chopping board, and we're going to move on to the mushrooms. Now, I never peel my mushrooms, but I do always make sure they're clean, so I give them a good rinse under the tap, make sure that there's no dirt or grit or any nasties in that mushroom. And then, as with the onion, we're just going to roughly chop the mushrooms. Don't have to be too careful about them. They're literally going to half in size anyway, the amount. It will seem like a lot as you're chopping it up actually, but as they slow cook in your lovely pasta sauce, they're going to pretty much disappear anyway, but add the lovely flavour. And the last bit of prep for this dish is to seal our lovely beef shin. Now I've picked beef shin because it is really great value. So we've got somewhere between 450 and 500 grams of beef shin here, and it costs around about £4. This is easily enough to feed 4 people, and it's a really great cut for slow cooking. So what we're going to do is, the reason I like to seal any red meat if I'm cooking, especially in a slow cooker, is because it just adds so much more flavour to the dish. So rather than just putting that red meat into the liquid and just stewing it, we're going to get a little bit of colour on the outside. So we're seasoning it up now with just some salt and pepper, and then we're going to put it into a nice hot pan and get some colour onto that beef. It only takes a few minutes, but it just makes so much difference to this slow cooker dish. Okay, so we've got our pan on nice and hot, and I'm just going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil to the pan, and then once that olive oil is heated up, I'm going to pop in these lovely seasoned beef shins, and we're just going to cook them just quickly until they get a lovely bit of colour on the outside. And then give them a turn every so often to make sure they're pretty much sealed on all sides. And now's the fun part. We're just going to chuck everything into our crock pot or slow cooker. So we're going in with our diced onion and our roughly chopped mushrooms. It does look like there's a lot of mushrooms there, but don't worry, they're all literally half in size. And then we're going in with some smoked paprika. As you can see here, I added half a tablespoon, but I actually did add more later, so I recommend adding 1 tablespoon of paprika. Then 1 tablespoon each of tomato puree and Dijon mustard. Kick of garlic puree, so we're going to go in with around about a tablespoon of this. This is going to flavour the cooking broth really lovely. And then we're going in with our good quality beef stock, so chuck in 1 beef stock cube. I'm using Knorr stock pots here, and they're my favourite to use. Give it all a little bit of a stir around, and I've actually added around about 300 mils of water at the moment. It doesn't look like a lot, but the mushrooms are pretty much made completely of liquid, so as that begins to sweat down, maybe an hour into the cooking process, that liquid is going to have doubled at least. So it looks a little bit dry at the moment, but trust the process. This is how you're going to end up with a really delicious flavour sauce, because it's not going to be too watered down. So go in with about 450 mils of stock. Push the steak to the bottom of the dish, so probably should have put them in first. And then after 4 hours of cooking, you'll see exactly what I was talking about. The mushrooms have released all their juices. So this is basically a mushroom and beef stock. It's absolutely delicious. The beef shin has started to break down. That's ready to shred now. So what I do is I just grab a couple of forks and just literally break the meat down. We do want to have a couple of nice big lumps in our lovely sauce, so don't make it too shredded up. But just breaking up most of those massive big chunks, we want to make sure that it's all broken down into the sauce. Left with this delicious beefy, mushroomy, delicious base of our sauce. So I'm actually love putting my dried pasta straight in and letting it cook in the sauce, as I feel like it adds more flavour to the pasta. It cooks in all those beautiful juices. But of course you can just pour in some already cooked pasta, save yourself about 45 minutes and finish the dish off. But if you want to do it this way, which I do recommend if you've got a little bit of extra time, pop about 220 grams of dried short pasta in, and then top it up with around about 350 mils of water, hot water or hot beef stock. We're going to check it halfway through and just maybe top it up with a little bit more if we need to. But what you want to do is add enough liquid so that the pasta is just submerged, as you can see here. Pop the lid on and put it on high for 40 minutes. And this is me checking it after about 20 minutes. As you can probably all see, that the pasta isn't quite cooked yet. It's still very al dente, and we do need a little bit more liquid in there. And so I topped it up with, I think it was just about 150 mils of water, just a splash. Put the lid back on, let the steam build up again. It's a bit like cooking lasagna. It was steam rather than boil. And there you can see the pasta is beautifully cooked. The liquid is pretty much all but disappeared, and you're left with this delicious dish. Now all it's left to do is give it that creamy element and make it even more delicious. Cue us adding in the creme fraiche. You can swap this out for double cream if you prefer it, but I love creme fraiche because it adds a little bit of sharpness. I've actually added 2 massive tablespoons there, but I do go in with another tablespoon later on. Give that a stir, and this dish certainly will need plenty of extra salt and cracked black pepper. You can try it at this point, you might love it as it is, but I feel like it needs a lot more seasoning, so salt and black pepper. And we're also going to throw in some lovely freshly chopped parsley, which just adds a real freshness to the dish, because it is a very rich beef, mushroom, creamy, so the lovely bit of fresh garnish really does lighten it up a little bit. And here I go in with plenty of salt and pepper, and just add it a bit at a time, give it all a stir, let it get it combined, have another little taste. If you feel it needs more, add some more, and so on and so forth until you have the perfect dish. I mean, look how delicious that looks already. This is probably my favourite dish. You have to try this, guys. Look at that, perfectly melt in the mouth beef, perfectly cooked pasta that's soaked in all the flavours. We're ready to dish up now. Get yourself a lovely big bowl and then just spoon that delicious pasta into it. I can't tell you exactly how good this dish is. You have to try it. It's so Moorish. This dish was supposed to be for 4 people, but it was only me and my husband, so we actually just went back and had another massive bowl full each. Put a little bit more chopped coriander on it, a little crack of fresh pepper, and then just get yourself a fork and dive in. Let me know what you think of this dish. Give it a try. Let me know. Leave a comment, and don't forget to share it, because I guarantee this will be a winning dish on your midweek menu.